So today we are going to be reviewing cells, and cells have progressed a lot over time. So we're going to talk about the similarities and differences between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. The first thing I want to talk about is the endosymbiotic theory. So when you're looking at my screen, as we go through this, I want you guys to be filling in the blanks as well. Okay, so with the endosymbiotic theory, this is a theory that describes how certain cell organelles became present in newer cells, such as eukaryotes, from pre-existing cells, such as prokaryotes. Okay, so cells have progressed from very simple structures to much more complex structures. And this happened from prokaryotes engulfing other cells. Okay, and then those organelles became a part of that cell. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So if you look at the image on your screen right now, I want you to just kind of think about for a few seconds what you see. Which cell looks more complex? Which looks more simple? Which looks like it could be unicellular? Which one's smaller? Which one's larger? So I'm going to give you a few seconds just to kind of brainstorm some of those ideas. Okay, so what you should notice is that the prokaryote, let's start with eukaryotes. Let's start with eukaryotes. So the eukaryote cell looks much more complex on the left side than it does on the right side. Okay, you can see that the eukaryote cell has lots of different cell organelles. There's a lot going on in that cell. When we look at the prokaryote cell on the right side, you'll notice that there's really not that much to it. You'll see some dots. You see the nucleolus that's inside. So with that being said, eukaryote cells are much more complex. They are multicellular, so we can find these in plants and animals and even you. Okay, and eukaryote cells are a lot larger. So let's talk about membrane-bound organelles. So like we said, eukaryote cells are much more complex. This means that they have lots of cell organelles, which you're going to learn about tomorrow. That includes things like the mitochondria to produce energy, the Golgi apparatus, the endoplasmic reticulum, anything that has an organelle with a cell membrane surrounding it. Okay, so prokaryotes do not contain membrane-bound organelles. Another important thing to note is that eukaryote cells do have structured DNA. They both have DNA, but prokaryote cells have linear DNA. So it kind of floats around inside of the nucleolus. Okay, we talked about how the eukaryote has a mitochondria because that is a cell-bound organelle. Both cells contain ribosomes because both of them need to be able to produce their own proteins. Okay, we both have a cell membrane. So in some prokaryotes, we have a capsule. A capsule surrounds the cell to protect it. Not all prokaryotes have a capsule, though. The flagella. Some prokaryotes have a flagella, so this is kind of like a tail that kind of helps it move around. And then finally, a cell wall. So cell wall, prokaryotes do have cell walls. Only certain eukaryote cells will have a cell wall. So like a plant cell, for example. So our main takeaways from this is that a prokaryote is very simple. It does not contain membrane-bound organelles, and it does not contain a nucleus. Okay, so a few examples of a prokaryote cell is going to be bacteria and archaea. Eukaryote cells, like we talked about, are much more complex. So they do have a nucleus. They do have membrane-bound organelles. And our examples of these would be things like plants, animals, fungi, and protists. So an easy way to remember if it has a nucleus or not, pro rhymes with no, so it does not have a nucleus. U rhymes with do, so it does have a nucleus. So I would say that the two main things that you really need to keep in mind is, does it have a nucleus, and does it have membrane-bound organelles? Okay, hopefully this helps you guys a little bit on prokaryotes and eukaryotes. On your activity today, you're going to go through and you're going to see a Venn diagram. It's going to have a list of similarities and differences, and you're going to put that in the correct order. Some of them are out of place, so you'll have to go through and make sure you put them either under a eukaryote, prokaryote, or both. I don't know.